Hi guys, Squirrel here and welcome back to another Derail Valley video. Yes, today we're going to actually take a big long train down to the harbour. If you watched the last video, which was the shunting, it was basically the prep for this. We've got ourselves a long haul 1 license and a concurrent license, which means we can do 2 jobs, both long haul at once if you want to. This is the job that we've got lined up. This one and this one. This one here is the biggie. This is the logistical haul. It's hauling 6 empty cars. From here, which is the goods factory, down to the harbour town. It's 138 tons and 108 meters in length, but it's paying 15 grand. If we can get a 50% time bonus on top of that, we're going to do pretty well out of it. This one, on the other hand, is going to the same place, but this one's 120 tons, so it's actually heavier and longer, but only pays 7,600. Now, one of the considerations about doing a multi-job like this is how you actually attach the loco to the consist. And by that I mean that you want to make it so the consist at the back is the first one that you want to drop off. And to decide which one you want to drop off, you need to look at the value of these things. It's very unlikely that we will be able to drop both of these off in the harbour in 38 minutes. Even if we get down there as quickly as we can, there won't be a lot of tolerance in it, and the harbour is a very big place. So we need to decide which one we want to drop off, and of course, this is the one we want to go for, right? If we drop this one first, we'll get a 50% bonus of 15 grand, as opposed to a 50% bonus of 7.5. So, I've looked around the yard, and this is the one I believe is this job here. I don't know for certain yet, because I haven't handed the job in for validation and been told what the consist is. But I can see already that there's 2 greens, 3 reds, and then on the back, 1, 2, 3 silver cars, but there's also a bunch of other stuff. 1, 2, 3. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and disconnected this from the rest of that because we don't want to haul this. This is a different job. It's there probably to try and confuse you. And then the other one is this one, which is 6 empty cars. And I know where that is. That's round on the siding of B1. Sorry, B2. No, what's it called? Is it called B1S or B2S? B3S, in fact. This is the only one that's around here. And if you look at the colour of them, they do line up. That is a kind of a yellowish colour, which is the 2 yellow ones. And then there's a blue one. And then a green one. And then a yellow one and so on. So it's definitely this. We know that we have to head out that way. That's the only way out of the goods yard. So what we're going to have to do is hook up that first consist onto the shunter, then bring the shunter through here, go into the tunnel, stop, change the points, come back, and collect this. This one will then be on the back of the train. And then we're going to head down to the harbour and hand it all in. Now, currently, we don't really know whereabouts in the harbour this is all going to go. So if we actually have a look at the harbour, you'll see it is actually quite big. There it is. So we will be coming in from the west. And I'll show you the map in a second so you can see the actual routing. I know for a fact we won't be going to B because B... is it B or C? One of those two is a military zone. I think it might be B. Yeah, I'm pretty certain it's B is a military zone. In fact, if I understood the colouring, I'd probably know that. But anyway... So it's probably going to be E or F or maybe G. It's going to be one of these things, I think. It could... This one here, I think is reserved for liquid. So if it was doing diesel, oil, that kind of thing, I think it's D that we go to. But I reckon it's going to be one of these. I don't know which one yet. Maybe the colour scheme. FM for farm. GF for goods factory is pink. No, there's no clues. So, anyway, we know we're going to be heading that way. Let's have a look at the map now. So, we're up at the goods factories. It's quite a long run, so you need to make sure you're full on fuel. That's the other thing. The goods factory has no refueling facilities because it doesn't have a diesel service. So, the only way to refuel the loco here is to repair it in there, which pays, obviously, it's going to cost you double to whatever it would cost at a centre, a service centre. But it will get the thing fully fueled up, and you're going to need all the fuel to get down to the harbour. When we come out of the goods factory, we go underneath this arch bridge here, which is just there, of course. Then our routing is pretty fixed. Like, we could go that way, which is just a ridiculously long hilly route. Bear in mind, this is very hilly around here. But what we're actually going to do is go down through the steel mill. Then there's a climb here. We're going to hang a left, and then a left again. And then this, I think this is a descent down here. And then we're going to hang through here. Along that, I think that's a climb. This is all along the coast. This is lovely, this bit. But it's also quite a slowish section. There's some sharp turns through here. And then into the harbour. And the harbour is, like I say, very complex. We know where we want to go. We know where all the stuff is. So now we start the clock running. So we'll pick up the cheaper job first. On the job validator. And then we'll pick up that one on the job validator, and we'll quickly double check the cars. So that's that one, that one. Right, let's run over here and we can just very, very quickly check the cars. I can't see it being anything else. So the front is 356, which is green, correct. And the back one is 1, 2, 3, is 455, and 455 is disconnected. It's exactly as we anticipated. And we are facing the correct way. We're facing forward because the radiator's at the front. That's also very important. So you will not make it through the hilly sections if you are facing the wrong way. The engine just will not have enough cooling, and it will overheat going up the hills. Now, one of the purchases we're going to get at some point is the remote control. But for now, there's better things to spend our money on. But as we start to unlock these kind of features, taking longer stuff, taking more hazardous goods, it's just like playing, you know, Euro Truck and those kinds of games in that sense. In that, you know, once you start to haul more, shall we say, exclusive goods, more dangerous goods, further distances, then the money really starts to build up. If you see a flashing brake hose like the brake pipe, by the way, that means that you've not connected the hoses, or the valves are closed, or you've disconnected and left the valve open. If that thing's flashing, something's wrong with your brake piping, and you should go and have a look at it. This is actually quite heavy. Was this the heavier one, wasn't it, I think? Yeah, 120 tons, this one. So this one wants to go to a harbour town G5I. Let's watch our speed. So G was actually... get the map up. Okay, so that was the other one, G, that we said might happen. That's the second drop. And the first drop is going to C1S. And C1S is here. That's interesting. Okay, so now what that means is very important. We can't just drive into this because the local will be at the front. So what we're going to have to do is go all the way past this thing, switch these points and reverse in to C. Drop that and then drive through and go around into G and then drop that, and then we're going to have to find the station house, which honestly the first time I went to the harbour I could not find it. It is such a pain to find, but I will show the easy way of finding it, because you can waste 5 minutes running around the harbour trying to find the thing to hand it in, the job. It's so frustrating the first time you go there, but I'll show you an easy way of finding it. Okay, now we're going to have to look at the car numbers on this thing. So 442 and 293. Can actually get a quick look at that now. 293 is exactly right, and 442 is exactly right. So again, all the kind of planning is paying off. It's just going to take a little bit longer to hook this thing up. So we are actually wasting time doing this. This is going to take an extra few minutes because we're hooking up another job. In fact, if I was really, really smart about this, having thought about this a little bit more, I shouldn't have handed that job in yet. I should have handed this one in, and then driven through around here, hooked up, and then picked up that job, shouldn't I? That's what I should have done. There's a few more minutes to be saved there. Well, that's good I thought about that. Now, I can't see the back of the train, so I've actually no idea when we're past that point. Let's go back through the tunnel, and then we're gonna go left, and then take a right into there. Is that right now? Yeah, left into there, right into there. Yeah, so I could have saved a few minutes there, couldn't I? By not picking up that job yet. Okay, just wait for the pressure. When you do release the train brakes, just give it time before you start picking up the accelerator, otherwise you're just going to start fighting against your own brakes. It's entirely pointless. Now again, this is where the remote control would be very, very handy, because right now when we reverse this in a tunnel, we're going to have no idea when the back of the train connects. And by the way, that's one of the things they're looking to add soon, is a caboose. The caboose goes on the back of the train. That's where the staff used to be, in the back, in the caboose. They would do all the point switching and checking for, you know, axles falling off the back of the train and that kind of thing. There's no caboose in the game currently, but there's planned to be. Oh my god, I have no clue how far away that is. Okay. We might just about be out of the tunnel. Let's get a bit more power on. A lot of friction. No, we're not ever going to see that, are we? We're just going to have to go at this kind of speed until we actually feel it shunt. Okay, let's disconnect the throttle, because that can't be too far away. And I really don't want to derail this. It's looking pretty good. Oh, don't make me go back and do this again. Come on, come on, come on. Yes. Lovely job, dude. Look at that. Oh, you utter scumbag. You utter scumbag game. I didn't connect it and it before the thing shot forward. Just leave it with a tiny bit of throttle. That little bit of throttle should hold it while we do this, but there won't be enough throttle to actually push it down the yard. Another lesson learned. Okay, throttle down, reverse into forward, brakes are released. Okay, right. Now we can focus our attention on navigation, which is essentially straight out of the yard and hang a left. As the speed picks up, we'll start to increase the throttle. Just give it a little bit of sand. Don't want to use much of it though, because it really does cost money. Like in Train Simulator, you can just leave the sand turned on and it doesn't matter. In this game, you leave the sand turned on and it's going to just like putting a hole in the wallet. It is just pouring money. It is so expensive, the sand. Apparently it's a very special kind of sand. Friction sand, whatever you want to call it. Now we want to basically be going as quickly as we can. Fuel's good at the moment, look. 7/8 of fuel. But there are sections that we can coast in, and we need to take advantage of that in order to save fuel. This is quite a long train, like 260 meter train. I think this is where the fun lies in the game, though, is just hauling these kind of insane consists around the map. Let's kill the throttle, because I think we're on a downhill stretch. The 60 limit through here. I want to make sure we're taking a left turn as we get down to this bit, which won't be far away. We are picking up speed. This is, if you remember, we were in a climb when we came into here. So I'm just going to get some light braking going here, because I know we're going to have to drop down to like 40 or something for the left turn. Yeah, you definitely want to keep one eye on the speed. Okay, it's 50. It's going to touch more brake going. Looks like it's set up for a left turn. And it's a 40 going left. So we'll let the brake just carry on and then we'll back off. And don't forget, we need to make sure the whole of the train goes through at 40. So I don't want to allow the speed to just suddenly pick up just when I'm past in the loco. I've got to get the whole thing through at 40. I really wish it didn't do that frame thing. Yeah, just some gentle acceleration to overcome friction, because I think we're quite flat now through here. Yeah, we just hold it at that kind of speed, that'd be great. This section of track here should have quite a long run. As long as we're under 40 when we go through. Try and get an idea of how long this train is. Yeah, I'm just going to give it more juice because I want to make sure we've got momentum. Okay, there's the back. Just about see it coming through. Now through the steel mill we should be straight through, but we're going to not assume it's set up for that. Because we're going to go through the steel mill, wrong map, we're going to go through the steel mill and then hang a left as we come out, like that triangle bit there. We've got to make sure the point's set to left. And then we need to floor it through here because this is a climb. And then at the top we need to slow down and make a left turn. It's quite a tricky section. But if you get it right, feels good, man. Right. Not quite enough friction for that. Once you've got the speed, it's hard to get the wheel slip. The wheel slip only really occurs at low speed. But yeah, I want to try and make up time now. Take advantage of this flat bit. Okay, that's an 80 limit, we're 160, we're all good. Now through the actual steel mill, we'll see various speed limits, but we can pretty much ignore them because we are going straight through. So it's far better to just get the run up. But the engine's quite warm, so I'm just going to kill the throttle for a bit and coast it. Because I want to have... When we get through to the steel mill, we want to have an engine that's not overheating, because that climb up, if we're trying to climb and then throttle up, we will overheat. So I found that it's better to just kind of build your speed up and then throttle down, let the engine cool, rather than just hold it at a throttle level, which is what they do in real life, to be fair. They kind of, what they used to do with the diesel electrics anyway, let them coast a lot to save fuel. See what that says, 8 I think. get these set up to the uncouple side now, and that's done. There's a 70 limit coming up, so it's probably a 70 limit all the way through the steel mill, I guess. But yeah, the engine's cooling down nicely, look at that, and we're saving fuel. But look, we're down to nearly 3/4 already, which is quite scary when you consider how far we've not really gone. But our fuel bill at the end of this is going to be probably like 4 or 5k easily. However, the harbour does have a service centre. So what we can do is when we do get to the harbour, instead of just paying to repair the train, we can take it to the service centre and get it done cheaper. But the other thing is, we don't have to do that. Like, there's other locos available at the harbour. The actual bill for this engine, we don't need to pay off when we complete the job. It's not a requirement to do that. The only time we need to do that is if we want to upgrade a license. If we want to upgrade a license, we absolutely have to pay off our fees. Which, I like that mechanic because it means that, you know, we can kind of hedge our bets and say, well, we won't repair that loco yet, we'll just leave that debt, and then we'll take a different logo, do a nice big job, and then we'll pay it all off. Because if you find yourself taking a locomotive to a station that has no repair centre, you can't refuel it any other way than either drag it somewhere with a different loco or repair it at the computer, which is going to cost more money. So there is a bit of management to be had. Okay, it's saying 50 through here, but that's only applies if you're going right. And 30 left. We're not doing either. The points are set correctly. We're just going to get our momentum. And by the way, the more wheel slip you cause, the more it's going to cost you as well in the wallet. I just noticed that at the last second. Wowzers, we almost did 50 miles an hour straight through that section of track, and that would have been not good. Because it's not even free. We'd have probably derailed and hit things. So yeah, never assume the points are correct. I'm looking at the one down here with the triangle, as you see, where there's a branch off to the right. And it looks like it's set correctly. Set to a left turn. Just going to kill the throttle, cool the engine because we're coming up to that climb. This is the climb I was telling you about, so just watch the speed. With a weight like this, we've got quite a lot of weight. This thing can handle 400 tons. But this is 138. Well, it's 120. 258 tons. Hopefully we don't need sand, but we'll see. Okay, now the gradient starts. And by that, you watch the temperature. By the time we get to the top of this hill, that will be very close to red. That was the sound of the engine passing into the yellow warning, just to give you a heads up that you're starting to overheat. So what you can do now is you can back off on the throttle a little bit and just get it so that you've got some power going in, but your engine temperature's not going up, because your cooling is coming in almost as quickly as your heat generation, but it's enough to stop you losing complete momentum, which right now will be not good. And we're near the top, but the back of the train is still on the gradient. And as I said, by the time we get here, we'll be very close to engine overheat. So I'm going to shut that off for a second, flick that signal over, give the engine a chance to cool down. The will be a speed limit through here. Speed limit is 70 though, so it's okay. And then get the power back on. And that's basically what you have to do. But if you imagine if we didn't speed up at the bottom of that hill, it would be a disaster. Like, we wouldn't have the momentum. And a hill start on there is going to cost, even if this thing can do it, which it probably can, but a hill start will take so much sand. It's going to cost like an extra $1,000 just getting up that hill. And we're not an employee, guys. We're not an employee. We're a contractor. We're self-employed train drivers, so we want to keep our costs down. We're not an employee who doesn't care about the cost. We do. Now, the good news is that on this section here that we're about to get over, there'll be a descent. So we can pretty much get that engine temperature back under control. I'm just going to shut it now before it hits the red zone, because if it hits the red zone, it will do a forced shutdown. Okay, now it's time to look at the map. So we want a left turn again here. Oops, I'm going to just press the wrong key. So that point's set incorrectly. But you can see now, I'm throttled completely down, but our speed is actually increasing. Okay, it's 70 limit to the left. So let's take the opportunity of the fact this is quite a straight stretch of track and get our speed up. Like, one of the things we need to do is just make sure that we're taking advantage of fast sections of track so that we don't lose time that we might need somewhere else. So far, so good. Let's get some engine cooling going. So we've got a sort of left turn, which is probably about a 70 or a 60, and then a right turn, which probably comes down to like 50-ish. And that triangle there that you see, that's quite a sharp turn through a little tunnel there, so the speed has to be under control here. It's like 40 or 50, I can't remember. But I mean, you know, in real life, a train driver has to learn the elevation route before they can drive on it solo. So, you know, if you were coming down here, it's not like, oh, you've been down here before, Squirrel, like, so you know there's a hill coming. Well, you know, an actual train driver is given an elevation chart that shows him exactly what the elevation changes are along the route. So you have to know that anyway, because it's very important. Especially with freight cargo, because if you get that wrong, you can get stuck. I'm glad you can zoom though. I don't know if you can zoom on VR, I assume you can. Because you really need to be able to read those signs. 70 limit, so we'll just kill the throttle and let it coast. Save some fuel. Looks like it's doing okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 6 and 2. Trying to see the back of the whole thing to see if it's not quite as long as I thought it would be. Okay, 60 limit here. As we go through this right hand turn, possibly dropping down speed, because because that bend seems to get tighter to me after this one. Let's keep an eye out for a speed limit change. There's a 60, we're good for 60. Okay, we need to make sure the points are set to go to the right in a second. Speed limit's okay. Coasting nicely. Yeah, so if you go left, you go over that bridge. If you go right, you go through the tunnel, and that's where we're going. Okay, we're doing okay. So far, we're doing okay. It's when you go round curves like that that you can really see the train length, and we'll see that shortly when we get near the harbour. Right, so there's a 50 coming up, so I'm just going to put a very slight amount of brake on this, just in case it drops any more. It says 50 all the way through. I'll release the brakes. Okay, point set correct, double checked, right and turn, yep. It is worth double checking because any mistake on the signalling will cost you heavily. Right, I'm going to accelerate a bit because I've noticed we're actually dropping a lot of speed. It's possible that we're going up, yes. Oh, that was a declination. Did you see the symbol? It was red with blue over the top on a slope, which means you're going to go downhill. So my guess is we're going to descend down to the harbour quite a lot here and probably not really have a climb. Although it does mean the reverse is true. Like, if we take a job out of the harbour, it's going to be a heck of a hill climb. It's 50 through there. Let's back up from the throttle. Alright, it's 40 through here. Let's get some brake on. That 50 to 40 transition came on very quickly. And yes, I did panic brake slightly. I went from 50 to 20 very, very quickly. The brakes are so good at arresting the speed of the train, but oh boy, when you want to release them, it takes all day. We should get a really good view of the train around here. I'm tempted to jump ahead, have a look back at the train. Wow, look at that. Should we get some screenshots? Maybe we can do the video thumbnail. Get back in. Okay, 50 limit. Let's have a quick check. Right. Now we've got a little bit of downtime here. This was the one we're undoing first, isn't it? This one. 15 grand job. That's going to go to C1S. What's that speed limit there? C1S, right, Harbour. So, what, as we said we're going to do is we're going to come in from the west, we're going to go left at the first junction, and then past the next one, then reverse into C. And then as we reverse in from the north, which is at the bottom of the map, remember that, 1S is going to be, as we look at it, it's going to go left. So we're going to reverse in and take the left. That's a speed limit drop down to 40. So we get a little bit of brake going on. Hopefully not too much this time. Look at that. I know the graphics are not amazing. Oh god, I just hit the wrong key, guys. That was my bad. I was trying to lean out the window and I accidentally pressed the brakes. It happens! It's going to cost us time-wise, isn't it? And for sand. That key presses cost a lot of money. Plus it could be the vital 30 seconds that we actually needed to get the bonus, who knows. Yeah, I know graphically this game is not all that, but I kind of see it a little bit like the OMSI of train sims, in that you've got these kind of clunky graphics, but with some really cool gameplay under the hood. And I'm kind of curious as to where it all goes, you know? That overhaul has really made it so much more playable. But I know there's a lot that they're working on as well. Okay, there's a junction coming up, which is going to have a left turn. I'll back off on the throttle because it's probably like a 50 limit at a junction or so. Definitely a 50 there. And down to a 40, I can see the 4. I'm going to touch a brake going on. That's going left. Okay, down to 40. Okay, so that I didn't so bad on the braking that time. Right, that is the harbour. That you'll see a lot of stuttering here because there's a lot of scenery to load at the harbour. You can see just how big it is. It's actually huge. One of the bigger maps and one of the bigger reworks in the overhaul. This is a place that you don't want to have a derail for obvious reasons. Okay, 40 limit still in effect. Like I say, there is a little bit of tolerance in the speeds, but you can hear the wheels grinding as we hit 45. If you hit that at 50, I'm pretty sure you'd derail. So the next junction is the left turn into the harbour town. The back of the train's still going through that 40 section, so I'm not going to speed up. It's probably already pointing left, at a guess. The defaults normally are set up to take you through things. Yeah, there you go, it's set up. Okay, let's make sure we're under 50. So this is the first of the left turns just coming in from the west there. So just to the right, that's B. That's where the military stuff tends to be. And then if you hang a first right here, that takes you to the roundhouse and service centre. And we should be able to see when we pass, there'll be some locomotives in there. Probably a couple of these and maybe a DE6, something like that. So if you want to get a service, you need to take a right here. Yeah, there's a DE2, a DE6, a DE6, another DE2, a turntable, and then the service centre's where that green box is, right in the middle of the screen. So it's quite a big hub, this. And this should be going down to the C section, so we're going to keep left, hold this train past this junction, then we're going to reverse down though. I don't know if you can see if it's set up. Yeah, we want to do a left on the way in there. So we go into 1S. Looked to me like there was something already in there. Which means it's going to have to be shoved out the way. Which is a bit of a pain. Okay, this is set up for a straight through. So now we want to get the whole thing past the junction. It's very hard to see. Yeah, misjudged it. I'm beginning to see the value of the remote control. So that ahead of us is E, and over there is F. Jump out. So this should go down into 1S, which has got stuff in it, which is a real pain actually. There shouldn't already be stuff in 1S, if that's where it's asking us to drop into. Oh, that's the wrong key. Okay. Runaway train scenario. Just double check, it definitely said, didn't it? C1S, uncouple. C1S. See, C is for liquids, which is really weird. Like, why does it want us to go into 1S for liquids? Unless it's going to put... Oh, it's going to put liquid tankers in the back of those things. Maybe. Yeah, this is going to be an issue because there's a whole load of stuff already in place. Maybe these 6 cars can fit on the front. If not, we're going to have to couple and move it. Like, we can't move the existing cars without coupling. Because the brakes are all beyond. So we'll just have to hope we can. And when we do this, we need to run over to the station, which is... Always look for the cranes. It's my big tip. There it is right there, you see. Look for the crane, and it's right near the harbour. Definitely quick enough. Fortunately, I cannot see how close that is. So better to be safe than sorry. All this is costing precious time. See, look, there's a spare loco there, 067. If you're really good, you can find 001. And you can find 007. Kind of hoping they'll fit in, but I don't trust the game enough to say that they will. Actually, they might just squeeze in though. All we'll do is reverse up, disconnect, and see if we can hand the job in. We'll know when we've hit them because they'll be like a brick wall. brakes on, they're going to stop this whole thing. I hope that doesn't derail. Okay, right. Disconnect. Right, if we quickly run... Oh my god. If we quickly run over to the station, which is like a maze, this place, but effectively it's around here somewhere. There it is. It's that one. We didn't get a bonus. Don't think. Let's have a look. Nope, didn't get a bonus. We did it in 40 minutes and 10 seconds, and the bonus time was 38 minutes. Oh well. Right, so there's no rush anymore. We're a couple of minutes late. That was caused by some mistakes that I made. Remember those like precious minutes that were being lost? Those precious minutes that were being lost, making little mistakes. That cost 7 grand in mistakes, right there. Those tolerances, like normally that would be a 40-minute bonus time, but because of our new license levels, we lost 2 minutes. And that was enough to cause us to miss that mark. And just little mistakes and you'll lose your bonus. It is difficult. It really is difficult. Anyway, doesn't matter. We're going to get paid our base money. G5I is the next one. Now we worked out where G was. You remember? G section is on the map there. We're currently down here, so we're going to come out and turn right, and then go right and then left into G. And then when we get to G, we want 5I, and we're coming in from the west, and 5I is first on the right. Now, it is a little bit like a maze, this thing, and it will confuse you the first time you come into it, but we'll see what we can do. It's a real shame we lost the bonus. That would have been great to get that, but I think you remember at the start when I said to you I should have collected the job after we hooked up. We lost at least 2 or 3 minutes reversing at the tunnel right at the beginning, and that was my mistake. But that won't happen again. Okay, so we want a right turn out of here, was it? Yeah, right turn and then a left turn into G. So there's the right turn. It's set up for a left turn by the look of it. It should take us into G. Once, you know, if you're not worried about the bonus time, or you're just starting out playing this, my advice is to ignore the bonus time. Just take your time and finish the jobs, because there's enough going on at the beginning anyway without worrying about your bonus. Your bonus comes when you get good, basically. Right, let's set this up for G5. So we're going to take a right turn, then we're going to take a right turn again, and then 5I is a left turn. So that should set it all up. 30 limit, we're only doing 20, so we're just cruising in. I mean, we're still getting paid decent money. How much money have we got now? Got 15 grand. I reckon the bill for this is going to come to... if we did it at the service centre, it would probably cost about 3 grand, otherwise that's probably more like 5 or 6. Plus the wear and tear, and the emissions. Did I mention the emissions? Even if you take this vehicle to the service centre and repair the whole thing, you'll still have a fee to pay, and that will be emissions. But the main thing is, we got it here safely and we didn't cause any structural damage or environmental damage. So in that sense, we did pretty well. But there's still room for improvement. I think anywhere here should do it. Okay, full brake, engine off. Lights are all off. Remember, you have to decouple for it to count. It won't count it if you don't uncouple it. That. And we can jog back and get our second thing. So we did 2 long jobs at once, which still pays pretty well. So yeah, 38 minutes, did it in 45. 6 grand paid. Now let's have a quick look. How much money have we got now? We have 22,800. That's not bad considering we now have an extra 2 licenses. Yeah, that's going to give us some nice jobs. But out of that has to come the fees. You're insured, you will only pay the co-insurance. The trouble is our co-insurance is actually like 15 grand now. Or is it 7.5? 7.5 out of 15,500. Press to confirm. So if we... Here's the thing. If we paid that now, it'll cost 7.5 grand. The total repair bill is 15.5. But we only pay 47% of it. If we take the train over and get it serviced, we can save up to half, which is basically that. So what I'm trying to say is there's 10,800's worth of damage on the train, and we can get it for 7,400. It's probably worth taking over for a service because we can probably get it to down 5 or 6 and save 1 or 2 grand. So that's what I'll do anyway. But this is the harbour. It is actually massive, as I said. Actually massive. There's also like a platform area. There's all kinds of stuff going on here. Actually, there's a shop here, isn't there? Quickly show you the shop if I can find it. Is there a shop here? One sec. Yes, there is a shop here. It is tucked away next to this fuel centre, but it's not a real shop, this one. The actual shop is it in this corner here? It's somewhere weird. I don't know where it is now. Let's have a look on the map. Does it even tell us on this thing? It kind of does and kind of doesn't. It insinuates that something's over near B. I thought it was along this wall. Maybe I'm thinking of a different station. Oh, there it... No. It's definitely not it. I don't know where it is. I'll find it for the next video, guys. Anyway, that's the harbour. So at the start of the next one, I'll show you where the shop is. And we'll pick up some more jobs and do some more stuff. But yeah, that's another Derail Valley video. Hope you enjoyed that one. Give me a thumbs up if you did, guys. And take care. Happy training.